Hello, and we're here today with Julie Quist. She's a person who's not a stranger to us in Rochester. She's been speaking here in Rochester for many years, and she was here last year, a very well-attended event on educational issues, an audience of almost 100 people. And she's here with us today to speak about the Minnesota Education by Regional Sustainable Development Networks. And these are the regional economic development corporations that you don't have control over and our elected officials do have no control over. And in many ways, they are much more powerful. But Julie Quist has done an amazing amount of research, and we look forward to having you live here in Rochester again very soon on this topic, Julie. But we are under lockdown. We're under an incredible lockdown, at least until the election's over, I suppose. Julie, what information do you have to share with us today about these issues?
Well, I'm hoping that I can give some insight into how a lot of these policies are created, planned, rolled out, and then implemented through layers of planning agencies that are not your city council, they're not your county commissioners, and they're not your state legislators. So there's so many layers of regional planning in Minnesota that it's a network that's very, very complex. So I'm just going to limit it to a couple of them and just let you know there are others. And they all work together. And anyway, the things that we I'm a child protection league, and we find that these, like the comprehensive sex education programs, they just boom, they come out of nowhere and suddenly everybody's doing it. And how does that happen? Or the equity curriculum, which is really a Marxist system. I mean, for those of you probably that are listening understand, I hope, if not, I'm not going to go into it in detail. But equity is dividing people into groups and pitting them against each other in order for radicals to take power. It's the racial equity sort of thing. But I'm not going to go into
on the same page with you on that, Julie, because a lot would agree with you that you can guarantee equality of opportunity or equity in terms of opportunity, but it's impossible to legislate equality of outcome and equity of outcome. People have to pick themselves up by their bootstraps. And that Marxism of separating people from their stuff to distribute it to others we're right there with you, Julie.
So I'm not going to go into that, but suddenly it's in all the schools. I mean, it's all in the curriculum. And where did that all come from? All of a sudden, everybody's on the same page. Well, you have to understand that that there's this whole network that is working constantly behind the scenes. And so I'd like to just show you a little bit about that. That's all. So if I can do that, I would have done a lot. There's more to it, but we won't go into everything. I show you here the Sustainable Development Goals. I just want you to know that the word sustainable development, which is UN, is global governance. That's what that means. Sustainable development is global governance. So I'm going to move to the next one. Now, the first layer that I'm going to show you is the Minnesota Regional Development Commissions. And this has been in place for a long, long time. Minnesota has been a prototype from way back for regional government planning through the through the UN, and it goes way back to before Agenda 21 was ever even passed. Minnesota's always been a prototype for things like that. So this is Minnesota, and it's divided into different regions. In the state of Minnesota, developed by statute in 1969, regional development commissions. Okay, so they are a state agency that you don't really hear much about, and yet, if you're active in your community, you're going to hear about these groups, Region 5, Region 9. It's just like, and the one we're going to look at is the one called, particularly is West Central Initiative. That's called that area, and that is performs some of the same functions as the regional development commissions, and they're, I mean, I don't want to go into a lot of detail on that. There's an overriding organization that pulls these all together. It's called the Minnesota Association of Development Organizations, MADO. So you can go and look at that information if you would like to. So just to let you know, this is all quite organized. It's been put in statute from way back. So this is what they are involved in doing. All of this comprehensive planning, community development, environmental services, housing services, et cetera, et cetera. This is everything basically that runs our system is what they do. This is their work. So now this is for the law. It's made up, each commission is made up of certain kinds of people. So they are, many of them, elected officials, but they are individual elected officials coming from different organizations that are brought together as one regional group. So a commission has to have one member from each county board of every county in the development region. I'm not going to go through all of this, but it gives you an example of what the law requires. People, one from a municipality of under 10,000, one mayor or council member from each municipality over 10,000, one member from each council of governments, one member from the tribe. Citizens, number 10, citizens representing public interests within the region, including the minority groups. So now you've got different disparate people from all these different things coming together with NGOs, non-governmental organizations. And that's the key right there.
So
So they have to establish committees and departments. They have a whole bureaucracy. That's the thing that really struck me. It's just this huge bureaucracy. And they establish bureaus and staff. Their staff, all their employees are government employees, that's just, who knew? But they are also authorized by law to make appointments to other government agencies and districts.
Wow.
So very often you'll have legislation come up and they will authorize the regional development commissions to appoint people to an agency or something or another. It's just part of the bureaucracy that's all interconnected. So they have the authority to make appointments also. They appoint an executive director and they hire an executive director. So this is somebody from the outside, and the executive director is huge power. He's the chief administrator officer. He's paid, but he's not elected. And so, how it is with organizations, the person who's heading it up, who knows a lot, who's on the in, who's paid, runs the show, and everybody else says yes, yes, yes. So the commission has a personnel system, officers and employees, and it says officers and employees are public employees. Okay, so they're public, they're government employees.
Julie.
So the purpose, now this is all in law. The purpose is, they say no single unit of government can really do planning that affects other regions. So they have to coordinate the multi-jurisdictional activities. So this takes in all of outstate Minnesota. Now within the metro area, they have the Met Council. This does not deal with the Met Council, but the Met Council is basically the same thing. I mean, that's part of the regional, the Association of Developmental Organizations includes the Met Council. That's the whole state. But these particular government and corporate agencies are for all of outstate Minnesota, going back to the late 60s. So their purpose is to develop plans and implement programs to address economic, social, physical, and governmental concerns of each region. The commission may assist with and develop or implement plans or programs for individual local units of government. So when somebody is elected to a city council, it's like they are given plans, and it's all prefab, and most part they have no idea about this infrastructure and how much it's organized, how long it's been going. They have this whole network, and they're somewhat familiar with. I mean, I'm not on the city council, so I can't speak for everybody. But I will say that you talk to a local legislator, and how knowing how it works, most people really don't have much idea.
They really don't.
It's hard for an individual city council member, if they are unaware of this level of regional planning, to really come to grips with it. I mean, it take quite a while before they ever sort of figure out what exactly is this. So these are the regions, and they indicate it by county. 6 is divided into 6E and 6 West, and it divides it all up. So Region 11, that would be the Met Council there. They don't call it that. Oh, I put it there. I put it, it was called Met Council. So this is a picture, this is a map. So you can see the areas. Now it's interesting, I don't fully understand this. Now the metro area, they don't have here because that's the Met Council, but the southeast portion is not served by a regional development organization. And somebody who knows a lot more than me about this told me he's researched this a lot and he does not understand. Although this is only one layer. They are fully part of another layer that I'm going to go into next, which is the service co-ops. But the idea that he had was that Mayo is very strong in this area, so is Hormel, and they maybe had their own plans that they wanted to implement themselves. They didn't want to be under any other organization. That was just speculation. He could be right, but otherwise we don't know exactly. Now, West Central initiative, it covers the 9 counties. That's right here. Fergus Falls is where the headquarters is for that. And they are not technically, I don't know exactly why this is, but they wear different hats. But when you get to the overall Minnesota Association of Development Associations, they consider the West Central Initiative to be one of their planning agencies. So it functions just as one of them for the purposes of the state overall planning. So the regional programs, the commission is authorized to receive public and private funds, but for the purpose of program administration, multi-county planning. So they can get money, not only do they get the public money that comes from, the general fund or however it's allocated, and I'm not sure about that process, but they also can from very, very wealthy foundations. And these are the people that are really running the show. They're the money. It's the George Soros groups, essentially, that really have the unlimited money. They work through the different major foundations. The McKnight Foundation is one that's really active. So they can receive money from, public and private, and they can do all this planning with unlimited resources. So they make the comprehensive plans for the local units of government. Now, I just want you to know that that all these are compliant, in sync with the Sustainable Development Goals. And I'm going to show you how we know that. So they are making plans for local units of government all around the state. They are also working on a state plan, which is called Build Minnesota, and all of it is in compliance with the global government system that they're setting up, and it has been for a long time. So local planning systems, they may develop a program to support planning on behalf of local units. We said that. So it's local zoning ordinances, land use plans, housing development, workforce development. It's environment, natural resources, renewable energy, all of that.
Wow. Julie?
Okay, so now I'm going to look at the West Central Initiative. And the reason is because this is right from their webpage, because they are more explicit than the others. But I will tell you that they all work together and they all are in compliance with the state requirement that everything, and I haven't gone into that, but I could, the state requires from way back that all of our programs are consistent with sustainable development from Agenda 21. Now, I know you guys are familiar with Agenda 21, which is now Agenda 2030. I could go into that and I don't think I need to, but it is all compliant with that. And the state has made that the policy for Minnesota going back to the time of Arne Carlson. Okay, so here we have West Central Initiative, which is, like I said, this is a window into how they operate, but on their websites aren't this explicit. They have their strategic priorities for the next 3 years. These planning commissions and goals and setting, it's all done exactly the way the UN operates. I mean, it's just the same sort of system. So,
Yes.
our
It, uh,
strategic goals for the next 3 years, we stand for diversity, equity, and inclusion, which is the LGBT, which is the equity, which is the Marxist system, basically. It's all the lingo is actually what that means.
mhm.
Educate, activate, celebrate, greater sense we can do it together. That's their thing. Okay, so here they're very explicit. We understand our progress through two lenses. One is the Minnesota Association of Organizations, MADO. I said build Minnesota. I meant develop Minnesota. Develop Minnesota is the state plan. So this is the overall organization that brings them all together and have created this state plan called Develop Minnesota and the United Nations 17 Sustainable Development Goals. So it's straight out of UN planning. And so they do it. We're required to do it for everything through the state anyway. So they're just telling us that's what it is. So the Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs, are the UN blueprint for global governance. That's what it is. And they don't believe in nation states. They don't believe in people having private property. They believe in running the waters and the electricity, and they want to bring people into smaller areas. I mean, the whole plan is global governance, that there's centralized control. And I won't go into that, but there's 17 goals, and we're just going to look at number 4 and 5 because number 4 is here you have it again. I guess bigger one. 4 is quality education, and 5 is gender equity. So here you have the United Nations Sustainability Goals on the outside, and there are all 17 of them right here on the outside. And then this is on their website. Then you have the developmental cornerstones, which is all part of that. And then right in the middle is the West Central Initiative Strategic Plan. So the strategic plan, which is going to be replicated all across the state for all your local governments, your counties and your districts, are all according to the United States Sustainability Development Goals. So here you have, okay, the quality education is number 4, gender equality is number 5. I just made it a little bigger here. That's why it's just so you can see it a little bit more. Gender equity is here and quality education is here, 4 and 5. Okay, so this is an example. I took this from the International Institute for Applied Systems Analysis. SDG, that's a Sustainable Development Goal outcome, requires 6 transformations. This is an example of what it is and how it is, what their plans are. This was published in 2019, a year ago. SDG outcomes, 6 deep transformations: education, gender and equality, health, well-being, et cetera, everything that you can see that it includes everything. Deep transformations needed to achieve SDGs. Okay, here's their quote: the 2030 Agenda and the Paris Agreement have given the world an aspirational narrative and an actionable agenda to achieve a just, safe, and sustainable future. The 6 transformations provide an integrated, holistic framework for action that reduces the complexity, yet encompasses the 17 SDGs and their targets. They provide a new approach to shift from incremental to transformational change. Transformational change is the big word, explained co-author of the 2050. So, for example, West Central Initiative is involved in early childhood initiatives. So they create this initiative. They're putting together all the whole infrastructure for early childhood initiative, and all the counties here have their own initiatives, and it's all organized. Now these are paid staff. I mean, these people are paid full time to work on this, 12 months out of the year, 52 weeks out of the year. And so, you have your local, who, all he has is he's not there relatively short term. I mean, he's not there for 25, 50 years usually. But these people are embedded behind the scenes, and then they put together these very powerful networks and initiatives and interconnect people, and then they take it to the legislature. they take it to the planning commissions, to the commissions, the state bureaucracy, and they say, here's what we have, here's what we want. I mean, they have, I mean, they're just giving it on a silver platter. And, you know, the legislators don't have to do anything. They just take it and run with it. And in here, they're talking about strengthening early care and education for children. Now, the plan for global governance is that the state government, the government has control of the kids from pre-birth, you know, on. And they really are at this point. The legislation is there, has been for several years. They're trying to push, you know, funding these programs so that you have, the government is determining, you know, how you raise your kids, where you raise your kids, get them out of the home as soon as possible, get them into these, you know, these centers. It's called Baby Ed, and it's been, you know, it's been working for a long time. So that's where, I mean, they're working this, like, this is just one initiative. This is one organization, and it's replicated all across the state. So here you have regional projects: early childhood, dental work, school readiness, early childhood mental health initiative, family economic success. Here it says funds leveraged for Central Minnesota 2001, more than $7 million. So here's through the research, ECI identified and planned strategies around key components: families, engaged community members, effective and coordinated early care and education. They want control of early childhood, period, and education, early learning opportunities. Okay, there are 90 communities throughout Minnesota that form community that these issues.
Julie, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Julie, this is such important information, and we are experiencing such technical difficulties as I have never seen before in trying to do a presentation. I don't want to waste any more of your time, because the sound is going out and it's clipping and the video goes out, and then the things are not happening right. And we need to do this again, Julie. Can we call this the end of part one, so to speak? Save this, because you're getting to the real meat and potatoes. I don't know if you're hearing me okay, but this early childhood concept of getting babies out of the house as soon as possible and under the control of the education managers, this is really, really important stuff, Julie. Can we end part one here and try to reconvene?
Whatever you want.
I have never seen this level of interference before. This is truly astonishing. So let me end this part one here.